Hey guys, welcome back to On the Mic with jb.banda. Today, my special guest is my cousin. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about backstory with this. I spoke to Nalufu about a week ago. We just got chatting, and then she started telling me that she was going through a tough time for like the past year or so. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy, talking about anxiety, depression. So I was like, okay, I'm going to need you to kind of come on my podcast and speak about this because I think it might help somebody out there that might be going through the same thing. So, fast forward a week later, here we are, and we're doing the podcast. So I'd like to introduce you guys to Nalufu. How are you doing, Nalufu? How's it going?
I am good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me today, JB. I was a bit not sure, but I just felt like, yeah, it's for a good cause. And I feel like quite a lot of people are probably going through the same thing. So maybe my story might help others. I don't know, but we'll see.
I think it will 100%. Honestly, your test is always a testimony. I believe in that. So definitely it's going to help a lot of people. And I just want to say a big thank you so much for joining. And I just want us to dive straight into it. And I just want you to just sort of tell us exactly sort of, your life before you started experiencing anxiety and depression. So just like your life before, just like a little brief info, if you could just talk through that.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people knew my personality. I was like quite out there, not as like extroverted, maybe in between introverted and extroverted. And I was always like, I would be kind of like the life of the party and hang out with friends, and I was so in tune with like my passion, like makeup, even the YouTubing thing. And I was just so focused on myself at that time. And, even just, I was more, I guess, like sociable, if that's the right word to say. Yeah. So, and yeah, everything was fine, but not until, maybe a year and a bit ago, I think everything just like started slowly showing in through like my interest, me just losing interest in like wanting to do makeup. And even just sometimes like going to work, it became like really a big deal for me. And even hanging out with friends as well, I started to overthink everything, like, oh, this is what people think of me now, blah blah,
But why did you start thinking like that? Like what triggered that? Like where did you start thinking, okay, something is wrong? Or why did you start being so cautious about everybody, what people are thinking about you?
I think, to be honest, it's mainly the relationship I was in. I don't want to like put anyone on blast, but I felt that the relationship I was in was not good for me mentally. And I couldn't see that at the time. Okay. That, I was going through emotional manipulation, even just like some narcissistic traits that were showing to the person, that I was seeing. And basically it's like I was being judged for everything that I was doing. Like I couldn't do anything right. So then I started to overthink everything now that I do, even towards my own family, and my friends. And that's when kind of like anything that was criticized, like about me or what I do, I would take it too personal.
Yeah. So how long were you in this relationship?
I was in this relationship for like a year and a bit. But prior to that relationship as well, I was in another relationship that was like a year as well, maybe nearly 2 years. And I would say that relationship at that time, that was proper like dating, someone with really bad like narcissistic traits, which I didn't know at the time until my friend kind of told me about it.
Yeah.
So coming from that kind of relationship and then taking some time to heal and then going into another relationship where similar traits are showing up, well, let me say similar red flags.
Yes.
Where it's like the gaslighting and, just not really prioritizing my happiness as well. Like they're not really reciprocating the respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And being judged, like I said, like being judged for the things, even just the smallest ththings, like my interest in Korean music, Korean dramas. Like I'd get told off, like, why do you like that? Da, 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 Yeah. And it felt like I couldn't be myself.
So you feel like you're just being judged all the time.
Yeah, pretty much. And
So would you say like you definitely attract the type then? Because it looks like you keep attracting the same type of guy. So maybe you need to look in the mirror and think, why do I keep like, maybe it's the guys that you're going for that are not, maybe you need to try something different in terms of dating.
Yeah, I figured that as with the work that I've been doing on myself, I came to an understanding like, yeah, maybe there is like a pattern to the kind of guys I go for. And
Yeah.
one of the major one I looked into was like guys with daddy issues.
Ah,
All
okay.
the people that I've been with
So that was
and or like dated.
a common
Yeah,
denominator, and all the guys you dated, they all had a problem with their fathers. Was
yeah.
that because the fathers were not in their life? Is that what you're saying?
Well, one of them, no, two of them, I guess, that I've dated, their fathers were not there, unfortunately, when they grew up.
Hmm.
Well, when they were growing up, and then the other one, it was more like they weren't getting along with their dad.
Yeah.
So when I looked back at it, I was like, well, why didn't I not like clock that? Like, okay, there's a pattern here. Like, why do I keep going, for
Yeah.
guys that are like not really, you know, in tune with their relations with their fathers or even stepdads, things like that.
Yeah.
So
So maybe it's just kind of like you need to do a little bit of a homework once you start. Like you really need to date before you jump into a relationship. You
yeah,
need to date and really get to know the person.
yes,
And
yeah,
then when you see that everything, they're ticking all the boxes and you're vibing, they are not criticizing you, then you can be like, you know what, maybe we can take this a step further.
yeah, definitely. And I think my issue was as well with ignoring red flags, which got even worse because I sort of it was as if like I started to long for like that kind of like being wanted, if you know what I
Mm,
mean. So it's like
yeah.
I'll do anything for that person to want me or to keep me around them.
So you
uh,
ignore the like the red flags because you just need somebody to be with you type of thing.
yeah, yeah. But
Wow.
then I would look at like my friends and their relationships and how their partners treat them, and I would see like, but that's not how I get treated, so definitely something wrong. But I'll
Yeah.
still ignore it. And yeah, it really just kind of like made my self-confidence really go down because I felt like I couldn't really, I don't, yeah, like I couldn't do anything right. They would always have reasons to like end things with me, or reasons why I get cheated on and stuff like that. So
Wow.
but I think generally the relationship experience or bad experiences in the relationships is the main factor to why I ended up just like going into this like depressive and anxious phase in my life.
Yeah, I think like trust me, I recommend you for like coming on and speaking about this because I feel like there is a lot of women out there that go through this and kind of end up blaming themselves because they feel that they're the problem and they think, well,
Yeah,
how come I'm getting cheated on all the time? How come I'm the problem? How come they're always breaking up with me
yeah,
when I'm trying to make things work? Even when things are not
yeah,
right, I'm still trying to make things work. And still
yeah,
they still say it's not, I'm not the right one. Like, is there something wrong with me? And then a lot of people end up in a spiral where they start kind of, blaming
yeah,
themselves, thinking they've done something wrong or it's them, and then they can't get out of that. And there's a lot of women that honestly do go through that, and it's good to see you speaking on it. So tell
yeah.
us, like, so when did it start going wrong for you? Was it after your last relationship had ended? Like, at what particular point did you start kind of
To
feeling
be
like,
honest, I think it's the last two relationships. They're the ones because I felt like the relationship that I had before the recent one that ended
hmm,
was the main trigger. That's because that's when I experienced disloyalty and being cheated on, and to a point where like sort of like um, being judged even the way I look.
yeah,
Being told, oh, maybe if you do this, or maybe if you do that, maybe that will look better, or maybe if you do your hair this way, things like that. Why didn't you dress like that when you're around me? That
wow,
kind of
very
stuff.
controlling, huh?
Yeah. And then only to find out like with all that effort I would put in to make that person happy, they would that still didn't make them like stay or be faithful to me and you know not betray me. And then the next relationship, it was as if you know the person kind of like ticked all the stuff that I was looking for in the in a guy.
Yeah.
Then some stuff's just like creeping out. That was a bit like, okay, red flags. But I was like, he'll probably change. I was like as if dating the potential and not dating the now.
Yes. You're kind of like, we can work with that. Like maybe I'll change him, he'll change, and it'll come to pass.
Yeah. Then I noticed like I would always like, it was as if like, when I would have arguments or even just hang out with that person, my mood would be so different and my vibe towards even my family would be different. And they would question like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you today? Da, da, da. To the point that they knew when I'm like being quite like, lashing out and just like being very like, not really aggressive, but just being very like frustrated towards them for no reason. They knew, okay, yeah, she's probably had some situation with her man, things like that. So it came to a point where I'll just be crying randomly sometimes. Like I'll just wake up feeling really, really crappy and just like wondering like why, like I try everything in my power to be a good girlfriend, and then this happens, and now it's like I'm experiencing all these emotions, like where it's like if things don't go great with that person, or if that we have an argument, that will just be the end of, like I won't even want to eat. I'll be performing really poorly at work. I won't even want to do any of the makeup or the YouTubing stuff. I'll just be so focused on like the bad that happened between me and that person. And if it gets fixed, then I'll go back to normal again. So it was as if like the relationship was the main drive to my moods, which is not good. So
you kind of like, if when the relationship is good, you're good, your work is good, you're upbeat, you're doing everything. When the relationship is down, then your whole life kind of goes with it. So kind of the relationship was the drive. I was driving pretty much your life.
Yeah. And which is so like bad. Like, when you put just like, you make that your number one thing that like controls even just how your life goes. I've learned a lesson from that.
I think that is very, very important that you say that, because I feel like a lot of people, even guys do it. A lot of people seek a person to complete them instead of saying, you need to be complete before you find somebody. You need to be complete as a whole, because that person doesn't complete you. They add to you, and you guys, you're already complete, they're complete, and you dominate. That's what happens. But when people go out and get into a relationship because they're seeking to be complete, they'll never be fulfilled. They'll always end up short. They'll always end up being disappointed. And I think a lot of people out there need to know that, like, you need to be complete as a person. You need to be happy with yourself and in control. Because like you're saying, your relationship was driving that. You are having bad days because your relationship was going bad. And when a relationship is going good, everything is good. So that's not great. Like, you can't live on like that.
Yeah, I totally agree, to be honest. And that's why, like, I took the time, last year is when things just got even worse. Like, I started to experience like chest pains.
Wow.
And I've never experienced that before. So I knew there was definitely something wrong. And it was like every day, and I started to think, is it the work I'm doing? Is it, what's causing me to feel this pain? So I spoke to one of like my career coaches from work and just kind of opened up to her, like, I've been experiencing these feelings and, physical pains and stuff like that. And she was like, I think you're definitely experiencing, anxiety or something. I was like, me? Anxiety? No, I don't think that, like, that's not possible. I'm resilient and, things like that. So I was like, So then I took on her advice and just started therapy. And that's when I then came to kind of understand like all the stuff that I was experiencing, the lack of interest and concentration, and just not feeling helpless, and just as if I lost my want to just like live my life. And I would start to have sometimes like suicidal thoughts where I'm just like, this is so bad, like, because I'm not in this relationship, I'm not happy. Nothing matters really. Like, I would start thinking like that. So
what were your parents like? Obviously, like, coming from an family, black family background, African parents, putting back African parents on blast here. But like African parents are tough to deal with. People, you need to understand this. Like people need to understand this. Like if your parents has raised you and they're black, like come on, we've had it. We've had it, man. They're very strict when it comes to these things. And they are not as understanding and as compassionate. I think that's just the era they grew up in, and that's the way they were raised. And I feel like, especially with that kind of religious background, very strong religious background, they will just say, you need prayer, you need this, and it's
that or like, if you just know about it, God will help you. And I said, I've been praying for months now, and I still feel the same. So yeah,
I mean,
it was one of those things. Like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, talk to us. Like, how did you do it? Like, how explaining to the parents, obviously, like, hey guys, I'm going through this. Like, how did that come about? How did you do it? Where'd you get the courage?
I just felt, I think at the time, it was so bad. Like, I even at some point with my mom, because at the time when it happened, I was working in London on a project. And so because I was far away from home, maybe that kind of gave me the confidence because I wasn't there in person.
True.
So, but my mom rang me just to see how I was doing, because it was whenever this whole COVID thing started and people were like in lockdown and I had to come back home. So my mom just rang me like, is everything okay? How's the COVID situation? And I just broke down. I was like, I just can't do it. Like, I'm just so tired, like emotionally, physically, this and that.
Yeah.
And I just told her, like, look, I've spoken to, my career coach, and she advised me to go for therapy. And, I think I'm gonna take a sick leave. And surprisingly, she was quite supportive. Of course, she did add in the whole thing, like, this is why you should be praying and this is another. And I appreciate that. And honestly, I'm not, disagreeing that God doesn't help.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think sometimes it's always good to also seek help. Like, there's a reason why God has blessed these people to be therapists or
100%
psychologists and stuff like that. So we might as well make use of those services when we can.
Yeah.
And then she took it well. And, she would ask me sometimes, how's the therapy going? This and that. And like the therapy really helped me understand, even the things of like distorted thinking or distorted thoughts, should I say. So like where I would like personalize quite a lot of things, or like I would fortune tell is like where like the thing hasn't even happened but I'm already like deep into thinking.
Yeah, you're investing into it hasn't even come to pass.
And I was quite bad with that, to be honest, in catastrophizing situations, like, oh, this is what's gonna happen, like this, like
making it bigger than what it is. Wow.
Yeah, so I kind of laid low as well off social media because I felt like part of what I was going through, because I would always be told about as well, like, about my looks and stuff, like I say, like, so in the other relationship, I would be asked, like, why is your feet so, like, why is the sole of your feet, this comment, I just don't understand, but it would be like, why is the sole of your feet lighter than the rest of your foot or something like that? And I'm like, so is my color like a problem now? Like, and
wow.
Yeah, and things like, when we'd talk about like future and like having kids, the person would say something like, if we have kids, I hope they'll be like my skin tone. Wow. And I'm like,
what's wrong with
did
mine?
you say that?
Yeah.
What? So I would start now thinking more about how I look, like maybe something wrong with my tone,
Wow.
Things like that. So I felt like, I was quite attacked for my looks. Not quite a lot, but sometimes in the relationships I was in. So it brought down my confidence. And I think that's where I lost it as well, like where I would sometimes have a nice picture that I want to post, but I'm scared, like, what if everyone will judge, like, oh gosh, she looks this, oh nah, that's not nice. So I laid off social media as well for months. And I actually I'm grateful for doing that, because it taught me to just, connect with myself and actually just give myself that attention and focus that I needed from those relationships.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's true, because like a lot of people, social media, like when you're going through that and then you go on social media, you're gonna see all these people that are killing it, doing their thing, they're posting this, posting. That's why I always say, like, nobody ever posts their true situation, that things are going.
Yeah.
Everybody, like, social media is literally about posting what's good about your life, not what's bad about your life. Everybody just posts the good parts and look at me, I'm going out, we're bowling. That's literally what everybody does on social media. Nobody ever posts the true thing. And if you're trying to recover or you're going through a tough time and you keep scrolling through, you could literally spend an hour. All you're going to keep seeing is these people that are pretending that everything is perfect. And then you're going to look onto your life and think, well, my life is so shit. And you're already feeling shit. Now you are going to go on the next level of shit because you're just like, I can't even deal with this shit. It's so much shit going on that I just feel like crap. I mean, do you know what I mean? And that's like a spiral. So sometimes when you're going through dark thoughts, tough times, it's good to step away from social media, step away from, you know, all that noise and kind of, like you say, focus on yourself and find time for yourself. And then when you're good and you feel great about yourself, then you can portray that energy and go back on social because, you know, your brain can withstand that. So it's very, very good that you did that.
Definitely. Yeah. Because I felt like even last year with, I'm sure everyone was aware with the whole BLM thing that was going on. Like, there's just so much like negativity on social media. Like, I couldn't hack it because I was already in that like dark place. And then if I'm on social media, it was a bad combination. So yeah, I think definitely taking breaks from social media is so important, especially if you're not feeling 100% like mood wise or even just mentally. Just reconnect with yourself through other things. It could even be just like watching your favorite show, or even just, you know, developing a new skill. Like, I actually started doing some Spanish lessons.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but it was like not lessons per se, but like I was using that Duolingo app.
Yeah.
And I was so consistent at that time. I haven't done it lately because it's busy season at work, but like I was on the like ball, like just getting like the words. I was, you know, quite fluent-ish at the time. So
Well,
that
give
was
us
quite
something. Drop something. Hola.
nice. I can just about say, me amo Nana, en vivo en Caracas.
Hey, listen.
I'm like, I feel the pressure right now, but I just said like, hola, me amo Nana. And then, that's it.
Yeah, it's good. Listen, it's good. Like, that's the thing. Like, you need to take your mind and focus onto something and something positive, something that's going to empower you. So the fact that you're trying to learn another language, that is even better because then you forget about all your anxiety and you just kind of zone in and you kind of forget about the world around you and you just focus on what it is that you're doing. Especially with your makeup. I mean, you're a very good makeup artist as well with your hair and your YouTube. Like, guys, you need to check her out. She's really, really good at what she does. And that's the thing. That's where you need to kind of, if nobody's supporting that movement, they are not worth your time. You need to be with somebody who's gonna try and propel that and enhance that and kind of push you towards your goals rather than drag you away from your, you know, your passion and your goals. That they're not right for you.
I definitely like agree with what you say, JB, because I felt like looking back, I don't even think like the last two relationships I felt that support for like what I like to do. Like even the YouTubing, I never saw my, you know, ex-partners like even share the video on their social media platforms or anything like that. But they would tell me like in person, like, oh, you know, I saw your video, you're doing great. But they wouldn't, you know, provide that support like publicly. So
I think for them, the reason they didn't do it was because then all these other side chicks would find out that they actually they've got a missus and then that would blow their cover. So they'd probably be like, I'm not gonna put out on social media. And let me just say, like, yo, like, listen, if you see, I'm caught up. Like, where are you on this thing? Because I'm a bit torn. Like, you get other people that just kind of like their vibe, they don't like. If somebody's not gonna put you on blast, if your man is not gonna like blow you up on every platform, then you really gotta look at that and be like, you know, are we good? Like, even on everything, like when you're out and about, like, are you like, I know some people don't like holding hands or kind of showing affection in public. I get that, but like, is he gonna introduce you? Is he introducing you to your friends? Because you gotta look like, especially if you're dating and you're trying to find someone and this is legit, then you need to kind of analyze this thing. Is he telling people I am out on this day? If he's posting on social media, if he's consistent and he's all about his social media, and you're nowhere near that, then something is wrong. I understand if the guy doesn't do social media and it's not his thing and he's not about that, then fair enough, because that's not him. But if he's about that, he's always abs on check, always fresh cuts, look every time he's on social, but you're nowhere on his social, you need to check that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's one thing I kind of like ignored as well. Like I'm like, no, they probably have a reason why they're not sharing me on their social media as much. To be fair, the recent relationship, there were some like images of us like together that they shared, and I appreciated that, because the relationship before that, never ever would you see a picture of me and that person on their page at all. Whilst me on my page, I'd be like, couples trip, this and that. But I felt like, even like you say, like being in public, like holding hands, that's something that I enjoy doing. Like obviously not doing the most, like where people are just like, oh geez, like get a room.
I know.
It's just more like, so I was able to experience that in the recent relationship. But the other relationship, it was kind of like you'd try to hold hands and then they would kind of move their hand away. Or even when we go on like a nature walk, I remember I had asked, like, can you hold my hand just so we can walk together, because I'm getting quite tired.
Yeah.
And the person was like, well, God bless you with legs, so make use of them.
Wow.
And I say, sir, like, what? I was like, okay, well, I just walk myself.
That's crazy.
So I just like accepted it. And with that, like comments like that, obviously I don't want to like be so harsh on myself, like why didn't I just leave at that time? But it's because at that time I think I was so desperate to belong to someone that I'll just look past those kind of comments and be like, you know what, he's probably just joking, I'll just carry on.
You know what, it's so true that you say that. It's like it's like people outside, when you're in a situation, it's hard to see that something is wrong when you're in it. It's when you go like through it and you come out the other side, when you look back onto it, then you're like, whoa, I can't believe I tolerated that. Like, it's so, you're so right. Because like a lot of people, when they're in a bad relationship or in a situation that's not right for them, or in a dark space, and people are trying to talk to them, then they can't see it. It's like, people can give you advice, but unless you really physically want to change yourself, it needs to come from within. If you don't want to change, and if you think that situation is right for you, even the queen can talk to you. Nobody can tell you what's right or wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like, even the queen can tell you this is wrong, you still be like, nah, it's all right. It needs to come from within. It's when you want to change that the change happens. Change doesn't happen by people giving you advice. Change happens from within. And people need to understand that, like, it comes from within. The minute you want to change and you make that first step, guess what? Things are going to happen. But the reason why thing ain't happening, the reason why you're in that situation, you keep asking yourself why, take a look in the mirror. You're the reason. You're the problem.
I definitely like tolerated quite a lot. I think to a point where that my sisters would be like, you're way too nice. Like, even sometimes I'd have a conversation with like an ex-partner and she like listens, like she's there, she's like, he did not just say that to you. And I'm like, oh, well, I think he had to it's because I say this, that's why he said that, so it's fine. And she's like, what? So it was so like, wow. She's like, I don't understand. So that's one thing I do appreciate as well, like having a sister that kind of keeps you in check. Like, like, where if they're saying like, nah, you're letting that slide too much, like, no, you shouldn't let that slide, and then they'll like talk to me and stuff. So, but like, I think definitely like mainly was relationships that drove me to that dark place. But I felt as well like some friendships were not like beneficial for me, if that even makes sense. Like, because I felt like I was in that mindset where it's like, once you have a friend, that's a friend for life. Wow. But then I came to understand that as you grow up and even as you start different like chapters in your life, sometimes those friends are done like serving their time in that chapter you were in. That's so true. They can't come with you in the next one. I would hold on, I'd be like, no, because we were friends for all these years. Like, I can't like, but then eventually, like, I just kind of distanced myself. It's not like I would like fall out with them or anything, but I would just accept that we're both in different, lanes in life, and we're in different part the chapters in our lives. So
Yeah, you
and
still
that's
love them,
okay.
but you're just kind of in
Yeah,
a different. Like, you're
exactly.
not as close as you were, but you still check on
Yeah,
them now and again in a blue moon. But
yeah,
it's definitely in your own lane.
yeah, definitely. Because going through that as well kind of pushed me to get closer to God as well, kind of like prioritize that. Because
Mm,
that's where as well, when it came to relationships and friendships, at times I would put God aside.
mm,
Even making the decision of hanging out with certain people or being friends with someone or dating someone. Some people would say, like, talk to God about it first, because you never know what this person's bringing and what their intentions are. I
yeah,
would just make my own judgment and, like, yeah, okay, yeah, I can be that
yeah,
person's friend, I can be that person's girlfriend, and just run with it.
yeah,
But now it's like my mindset is a lot more different. Like, if someone does approach me, I think definitely I'd have to take time first, have that quiet time with God, and really understand, like, God, if this person is the person you want me to even give my time to,
mm,
like, give me a sign or just give me that peace within, and then I'll
mm,
go with it.
yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah.
So kind of taking more time with inner time with yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Like, it's so important, guys. Like, just especially when you see, like, the red flags. I know sometimes it's good to give the benefit of doubt for someone, or whether it be friends or
Mhm.
partners. But when you see those red flags that are like deal breakers, just
Yeah.
just let it go. Like, leave before it gets worse. Otherwise, you like, the longer you stay in that kind of toxic relationship or toxic friendship or whatever,
Mm.
it will take you even longer to heal from it. That's what I've learned.
Wow.
So yeah.
What would you say your deal breakers are now, looking back at everything that you went through? Let's talk about those deal breakers. What would you say they are for you now? Like, what would you what is Nana not tolerating? Like, what are you not tolerating right now?
Okay, so I think, first of all, I know I always prioritize someone who's like a God believer, a
Somebody who's
Christian,
religious.
yeah, religious. But I think I won't just take their word for it,
Mm.
definitely. So if their actions are not marrying up with their religious beliefs or morals, then I'm cutting that out. Like, nah, I'm not gonna allow that. But as well, I think just not, like, honesty. I'm the type of person that appreciates, like, honesty. Of course, like, some people, sometimes it's a bit hard to be honest with someone because you don't know how they'll take it. But, like, if you know that lie is gonna damage what we have even more, then why lie in the first place? Do you know what I mean? So, like, honesty is definitely, if you lie, it's a deal breaker. Like, we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think definitely, like I said, like, the narcissistic traits, like, especially like gaslighting, that's something I've experienced so many times in the past relationships.
Talk about that.
It, it's, at the time I didn't even know what it was. Like,
Mm.
I didn't know it was called gaslighting. To me, I just thought, like, maybe
Explain to
I
people
did.
what that is, because a lot of people be like, "What did you
Yeah.
mean by that?"
Okay, so this is my, like, own version of what I understand what it is. So, like, gaslighting is where, like, someone kind of makes you doubt your own, like, version of events, of what you recall, even what was said, even though it's true, like, how you remember is actually how it happened. But the person then is using the gaslighting, like, to manipulate your memory, or even just, like, your truth. So
So
they
give
would
us an
say, like,
example. Give us an example.
so for example, like, I say, like, you say, let's say I would say, like, you definitely say that you don't want to go here with me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I decided to cancel those plans. And then the person would say, no, I never said that. I said we can't go on this date, but we can definitely go on this date. But, like, none of that was even said.
Mm.
But they just say, like, nah, I don't want to go there. So it's like, that's my version of what I remember. But they're like, no, I never even said that. Like, who say that? I think you're, like, thinking things, or, like, you're crazy, like, maybe your memory is kind of confusing you, things like that. And you start thinking, like, okay, maybe it is, like, maybe I actually don't remember. And I think
Wow.
I had a thing where I started to screenshot messages because
Yeah.
of that, like, it, because there were many times I'll be told, like, no, I never said that. And because I never, like, saved, the messages or whatever, or voice notes, I couldn't back myself up, like, but I am telling the truth.
Mm.
So
So you
one
start
time
questioning yourself.
yeah, and you start, like, maybe then I have a problem. Like, maybe I'm crazy. You start now believing, like, well, maybe they didn't say that. and
Mm.
but at some point I ended up like screenshotting. I think it was like a voice note or a message, I can't remember, and where I said like, you see, you did say that. And they're like, then why didn't you just say that? Why didn't you just bring this up? We could have, sorted this out ages ago. So, they're like deflecting from the fact that they were gaslighting me in the first place.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely gaslight, it's not a good thing. Like it wrecks with someone's like mind, and to a point that, yeah, I think it adds to the whole like self-confidence, because then they're not confident anymore with their own like memories, what they remember of certain things. So
Yeah.
definitely, yeah. I think deal breakers, I think even, yeah, like just being like loyal and transparency, and not being able to communicate. Yeah, like if we can't even communicate our feelings or problems, or even, yeah, like, then what's the point of being together? Because communication is so important in a relationship. So yeah, that's what I can think of now. I'll probably
Yeah,
have
no,
some
that's
other,
that's
but
that's that's amazing. And your example for gaslighting, to be fair, I'm gonna be truthful. I didn't even know what that meant. So I was like, like drop some knowledge on us. So I've learned something up today. I've definitely
I guess you learn
uh,
something.
so hey, that is saying. But yeah, no. So do you think like because obviously there's a lot of people that do experience anxiety, do experience depression, especially in this time that we're going through the COVID, and a lot of people have lost jobs, and a lot of young people as well. Like they just stuck at home, and they're going through a tough time. So I feel like do you feel like with everything that you went through and kind of dealing with a therapist, did that really, really help? Would you say like that was seeking help was the right thing to do?
Yeah, definitely. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be talking about this now, to be
Yeah.
honest. And I know now it seems like a light-hearted thing to say, or like something not as serious, but I kid you not, like experiencing like suicidal thoughts, like when you're at that place where it's just nothing can make you happy, and you just like you just want to end it. To a point, I used to actually research like painless ways to die. That's
No
actually
way.
like, yeah. I've never actually like say I mean, I opened up to my family about it, but I've never been so like vocal about it like publicly. So
Wow.
yeah, I used to like, because I have like a fear of like pain. I don't deal with pain well, so I'd like
Mhm.
research like the quickest and painless ways to die, things like that. And I was like, that's when I look back, like I would journal it as well. I would journal like all these kind of like days where I was doing those kind of things. So when I look
Wow.
back, I was like,
Big up to the journal, because I tell you what, my partner, she uses a journal all the time, and I tell you, women,
ah,
it's good for documentation, and I'm just starting to get a hang of it, but it's kind of hard to kind of keep up. But
yeah,
you women are very, very good at writing things
yeah,
down, and I think that's so good, putting pen and paper to it. Because like sometimes my missus will be
definitely,
like, I'll check my diary, and then she'll be like, yep, we did this, we ate that on that day, and this
yeah,
is what that happened, and I'm like, whoa, you had that written down. And it's good that
yeah,
you can sort of the time when that happened, when you had the episode, and you wrote that down. That's so good, because then you can
yeah,
sort of look back and say, what triggered that? What was I doing that
uh,
day that kind of triggered that? And the fact that you write your journal, like everybody listening, get yourself a journal, start writing down
definitely,
what you're going through, because trust me, that's so important. That shit is important. I mean, my missus has been trying to get me, and
yeah,
every time I do get a diary, a present, from my in-laws. But yeah, so definitely I'm starting to write things down, and
yeah,
people out there listening, do it. It's
definitely.
very, very important.
It's really, really like it helps you then see, just kind of like keep track of like your journey of how
Mhm.
you got to the place you're at. And like, yeah, like with the therapist is the one that actually even had recommended me journaling, but initially I had already started it anyway. So when she said like, you should journal this and that, and she kind of also helped me kind of look back from my own like childhood, and maybe I could have experienced some trauma as well there, which had then kind of affected my adulthood as well. So it was quite a lot of like reflection and really like digging deep into myself,
Wow.
and just learning to also be kind to myself. So I definitely think therapy had helped me to, yeah, like just to give myself that extra love more, and just, yeah, like you say, like help myself, be complete before I with someone, because I was in that stage where I would like, unless I don't have a man, I'm not complete. Like my life is shit basically. So
It's so good. Honestly, it's so important. Anybody listening out there who's facing a tough time, it's so important that you look within. And it's only
yeah,
when you're not going to find anything outwards, it's always within. Everything
yeah,
you're going through is within. So instead of rushing out to the world, that's why like prayer is important, meditation is important, having
yeah,
quiet time to yourself is important, like stepping away and having a detox of social media is important. It's so important to take that step and look within, look inside yourself, because
yeah,
inside yourself you will find yourself, if that makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah, and I think like to add on to that as well, I feel like people shouldn't be scared to seek help, even like from your friends or a friend that you really trust, like to open up to, or a family member, because I feel like suffering alone or suffering in silence is not gonna solve the problem. And I feel like yeah, like I know sometimes some people might, those overthinkers such as myself, that might be like, what if they think like I'm complaining, or what if they say, why are you like so like moody, or why are you feeling crap because your life is like this, like you have this, you have that, so why are you sad? So yeah, like just disregard whatever those thoughts of like they'll judge you for being open about your struggles, and just speak to that person. You never know, they could then kind of guide you to the right people to talk to, such as therapy, or means like talking to a pastor or something like that. So yeah, I think
No,
it's yeah,
that's a
it's
good
just important to
point.
talk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is a very, very good point. Because the fact, like, I was actually like, obviously we're talking about, like parents and telling your parents, and the fact that your mom was so supportive in that situation, that she just said, you know what, I think that's a great idea, definitely go for it. And then she was checking up on you. I think a lot
yeah,
of people are scared because they feel like when they do speak to someone about it or tell their parents, they always feel like they're gonna be judged, or their parents are gonna like tell them off, or
yeah,
they're gonna like look at them in some type of way. But one thing you gotta understand, guys, your family love you, and
yeah,
your parents love you, and your family members love you, and they want to see you do well. They don't want to see you hurting. They don't want to see you
yeah,
suffering. They want to see you happy. And anybody who's in a dark space right now and they don't know who to tend to your family, speak to your family member. And there's so many like lines out there, so many charities and places. Or ring up your GP and speak to them, like literally just dial 99 if you have to, and speak to someone. Hey, it's an emergency, your life is an emergency, so you can
yeah,
speak to them, and they'll reroute you. They'll put you through to the proper place, and they'll say, hey, we've got a number for you, we'll direct you to this person. And then there'll be someone at the end of the phone that will talk to you. But it's very, very important that you seek help and you talk to your
yeah,
family. Don't be ashamed in what you're going through. We all go through it. We've all been
definitely.
down the trenches, and trust me. But the only way we're gonna heal from it is by speaking about it and getting the
Yeah,
right help. That's the one. Trust me. When you speak something, you get something off your chest. It's like
hmm,
the world just came off your shoulder. You just feel like like a relief. Like, oh my
yeah,
god, it's so like uplifting. Once you, I'm sure when you spoke to your therapy every session afterwards, you just felt like a new person.
yeah. Like just you have like that breath of fresh air feeling, like like it's like, yeah, like a weight has been lifted off your shoulder. So it was, yeah, it was good, because even having to speak to like some of my close friends and even family about the stuff that I was going through as well was helpful. So I'm definitely grateful that I had the friends and family there to go through the journey of like healing with me. They weren't like judging me or anything, like that. So yeah, no, I'm so grateful to have like the therapist, family, the friends, even Netflix as well, because that was quite good to just watch, catch up on all these shows, and yeah, just do like things that kind of relaxes your mind, and
Yeah,
makes you feel good.
puts
Yeah,
you in the right space, like headspace. It's always good to, and you need to know that. That's why it's good. Again, like going back to the journal, you write down like the days that you feel really good, write them down, and then a
yeah,
day that you're having a difficult time, you can look back and be like, on this day I know I was felt good. What did I do that day that made me put it in the right headspace? And then you can do that, and more of that will release the endorphins, and then you feel great about it. Like
yeah,
exercise, going for a walk, even if it's raining, let the rain pour on you. That will be refreshing and nice. Do you know what I mean? Like something as simple as that. You can just feel great doing
yeah,
that.
yeah. No, definitely. Like, And I think I know we have a long way to go, definitely, especially in Africa, to be honest, when it comes to like mental health. But I think I honestly do pray and hope like we'll get to a point back home, especially where people take mental health more like seriously,
Sure.
and help those who can help themselves.
Absolutely.
Because yeah, that's one thing I appreciate about the UK. I feel like they are trying to honestly prioritize, mental health and help people. And
Yeah.
my hope is that, our country such as Zambia will get to that place as well someday soon
No,
before
true,
we
true.
lose too many people.
I feel like a lot of, obviously not bringing race into it, but I am gonna bring race into it. A lot of black people are kind of, they just deal with stuff internally, and they just think like,
Yep.
oh, I just, that's the way we're brought up. Like if you're in a black family, you sort of, when you're going through a tough time, you just deal with it inwardly, and you don't really speak. You don't even speak to your family. You don't speak, and that's
Yeah.
because we were raised with so much restriction. I think, you know what, me and you need to do a podcast about how strict African parents are. We need to do that. I'm telling you, I'm gonna bring you back, Nalufu, because I've had so much fun in this podcast. I think I'm gonna bring you back, and we need to talk about our upbringing, the African upbringing, because how different it is to, like, a white upbringing, or like a British upbringing. It's so different, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's why we're so rooted, and the way we get affected differently is because of our childhood. That stuff, like, it's so, and that's why your therapist was going deep with you. She was going back because she was trying to find out, like, where did it go wrong, because there's always a
Yeah.
start point, and they look into your childhood, and that's why every child's childhood and upbringing will shape their life. So
Exactly.
parents out there, the way you're parenting your child, that child, it's gonna shape their life. And it's funny how you say that all the guys you dated had daddy issues. So you found a pattern.
Yeah.
So if there was a dad in the family, they're there to raise them, then it could have been a different story. So again, the
Yeah.
upbringing there reflects the upbringing. So it's so like, with mental health, it's you can go so deep into it. Like,
Yeah. It's so
I'm
wide.
fascinated by it. It's so, like, I want to know more and more, because I just want to help so many people, because it is a big topic. And the funny thing is, like, people can be smiling at you. You walk past somebody with a smile, but
Yeah.
inside they're dying, but they've got a beautiful smile. And you could see somebody on social media, they just posted, and then the next day you hear they've committed suicide, and you're like, oh my God, what? Like,
Yeah.
I just saw her. She was out with her friend and everything was good. Like, how did she take her own life? That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like mental health. It's like it's in your head, so nobody can
Yeah.
see it. It's like it's a
That's
silent killer. Nobody can see it.
mm-hmm.
You can't tell that somebody's going through it.
Yeah. And what the point you say there is one thing that my therapist actually had said, where it's like one thing a lot of people don't really realize, like if someone's going through depression or any other sort of like mental health problem, because we can't see it, like they don't take it
Physically,
as
yeah.
serious. Yeah, unlike someone with maybe a broken leg. So she would make a comment to me, because I would say like, I don't know, I don't feel like I should be on, taking this time out for myself, because I feel like it's just, my emotions and my mental. She's like, well, so tell me, if you broke your leg or you broke your hands that you use
Yeah.
for work, would you still go to work to still try and do the work with the broken hand? I was like, no. And she's like, exactly. So what's different with your mind and your brain experience going through these like
Wow.
emotions and stuff? You can't
That's a
work
powerful
properly, you
point.
can't do things properly. So it's the same sort of situation that needs to be treated the same as like a serious thing.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's powerful. That's a powerful point. Because, like, you're so right. You are so right. A lot of people look at like mental illness as, oh my God, like you've got your emotions mixed up.
Yeah.
And then when somebody's like dying from, say, cancer or something, because they can
Mhm.
see them losing their hair and losing
Yeah.
all that, and they're going frail, they're like, oh my God, they really need help. Look at them, they're going frail.
Yeah.
But guess what? Somebody who's mentally ill is also going frail. Inside, they're going frail.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
losing their hair inside. Like, that's the thing. So it's a big thing. Like, it doesn't weigh. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Weighs the, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's,
Yeah,
wow, that's such a
definitely.
powerful point. That is such a powerful
Yeah.
point.
When I heard that, I was like, yeah, do you know what? That's so true. So that gave me that time to actually just accept what I was going through and not be ashamed about it. Because I think
Mhm.
that's one factor as all people like are scared to seek help, or especially like you say, like the Black community, we're like ashamed of people looking down on us. Like, so that person's like depressed, that person's like
Yeah, true.
experiencing anxiety. Like that's really weird, things like that. So it's
Yeah.
like we're just like, no, we're great, life is great, but deep down you're like dying, you're crying yourself to sleep all the time. You don't even want to socialize anymore. You're just always cooped up in your room. Yeah, yeah. But it's not something to be ashamed of, to be honest. Like we all go through these situations in life, and it's okay to seek help and to be open about it. Like, yeah, I'm experiencing, anxiety or depression or this or that. Yeah. So
No, that's amazing. Listen, Nalufu, it's been amazing. It's been it's been
thank you.
emotional. It's been great having you on, and I feel like definitely gonna bring you more regularly because I think like you've got so much to offer, and a lot of people would like to
Oh,
hear
thank
your
you.
input. Like, and I just want to tell you, girl, like you rock.
Oh,
You rock.
thank you.
Honestly,
Thank
you
you
rock,
so
and you're
much.
so talented. Let me tell you, you're so talented.
Thank you.
Like keep up with your YouTube, keep up with your makeup, because trust me, you have got an eye for talent. Listen, guys, you need to go check this girl out. I'll put our link below for our YouTube channel and her makeup channel and her Instagram. You need to follow this girl, show her love, show her support. Trust me, this girl is amazing. She rocks, and trust me, you are
Oh,
an angel sent from above
thank
to
you so
deliver
much.
this news. So trust me, I just can't thank you enough for jumping on. And I'm just so
Oh,
grateful that you're my cousin. I'm just like, hey,
oh.
you got a cousin that rocks. What
Same
do you do,
here,
bro?
same here. Honestly, like, because as you know, I don't have any brothers, but I have sisters, and I love them to bits. But I feel like having that male sort of like mentor and like
Yeah.
yeah, someone to kind of give you that male perspective on things. So I'm happy to have like male cousins such as yourself and Given. So
Yeah.
yeah, honestly, I'm so thankful for you in inviting me to come on this podcast for today.
Nah,
So
nah. Honestly, it's
it's
been
been
amazing.
fun.
How can people reach you? Like, tell them how can they find you? What's Instagram? What's Facebook? What's YouTube? Let them know.
Um, Yeah, so with YouTube, it's still a bit like inactive at the moment, but I'm definitely making some things, to kind of go back into it and stuff. But yeah, I have, a makeup page called by Nalufu.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been trying to be more consistent now. So hopefully there'll be a new post coming soon. And then just Nalufu_A is just my own personal Instagram. So I'm more active on the personal one. But yeah, if you want to reach out to me on the makeup page as well, that's fine. Like we can chat.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
So
how long do you reckon you're gonna give yourself time now before you start even considering dating?
oh, JB, like uh, honestly, I've told myself like I need to at least give myself a year of just like dating myself, loving myself.
Hmm.
And just as well because the past experiences from relationships, I'm not gonna lie, it has kind of like a bit scarred me in a way that I've put up this wall now where I
Yeah.
can't let someone in, and that's why that to me gives me a sign that I'm not ready to date. So I
Hmm.
need to give myself enough time. I told myself a year, but who knows? I mean, maybe by the end of the year I'll be feeling different. But
Hmm.
I've told myself, yeah, 2021 is for me and
Yeah.
only me. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And guys out there, listen to this. Like, this is why it's so important. Like, when you find a girl and she's giving you a sass, she's giving you action, you're like, oh, she got this wall up. It's because of guys like this. They're the guys that are messing things up for us. They're messing things up for you guys out there. I'm happy. I got
yeah.
misses. Like, yo, things is going
I
great. I
know
found the one.
you guys are
I
so
found the
cute.
one. Like, oh, I hit the jackpot. I hit the jackpot. And I'm like, God
Yeah.
dang. So, but
Oh,
now for anyone out there, like, trust me, like, this is why this is the problem. Like, and if you meet
yeah.
somebody who's got a war up, try and dig deeper, try and find out why that war is up, try and get them talking about their past so that you can know that, okay, it's not just me, there's something there. And once
Yeah.
you go past that and they see that you're trying to get to know them, not just trying to
Yeah.
hit and quit it, like then you find the right one. Because a lot of guys are so quick, they just want to get the cookie. Like, listen,
Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of women don't just give out the cookie too quick. Don't give out the cookie too
True.
quick. Like,
True.
honestly, get to know the guy, make sure he's the one. Because the minute the cookie comes out, the cookie jar, that's it, it's game over.
Yeah, he's out, yeah, completely. Like, I definitely agree with you. I think I'm not trying to say like all guys are bad. And this whole thing people say like men are trash. We shouldn't say men. We should say some men are trash because
True.
there is some good men out there. And like you said, yeah, like there's those bad men that are making us like women who are trying to be good partners to take time to ourselves and like kind of build, like you say, build that wall where it's like we're kind of afraid now to let any guy in because we're like anxious or like paranoid, like what if they're the same as the others. But I know like not every guy is the same. But yeah, like you
Listen,
said, just time.
we could go on forever. Like I would talk to you like till the cows come. Like honestly, this is yeah. We need to do like a part two to this. I'm telling you, this is fire,
Oh,
and
thank
I
you. Yeah, no,
enjoy
I've loved
talking about
it.
this. It's so good. Like I'm definitely gonna bring. Like I'm gonna be bailing you all the time. I'm gonna be like, Nalufu, let's jump on again because this has been amazing. This has been one of my best, like, one of my
Oh,
favorite podcasts to do. Honestly,
thank you. I'm so
just
happy to hear that.
it's so good, and just to hear somebody's perspective, like a woman's perspective, and a lot like right now relationships is like it's a big thing, and especially anxiety, depression, like mental health is so huge. And the fact that
Yeah,
you came on openly talking about what you went through, I just want to say, props to you, and I
thank
thank
you.
God that you asked for help, and I thank God that you got the help, and I thank God that you're here to tell the story. It's very important.
Thank you very
And
much.
next time you feel like you're slipping, look back on how strong and how far you've come. And then
Yeah,
again, hey, I'm always a phone call away, by the way. Nana, if you're in that place, just call me and be like, JB, I need to talk. I'm going through something here.
yeah.
And listen, I'll be there. I don't live
Oh,
far. I'll be there. Honestly, like
thank
I just
you.
want to say thank you. And guys, to everybody that's listening out there, make sure you follow this girl. I'm gonna have all her links down below so you can follow her on all social media and give her the support.
Thank
And
you.
if you guys out there are going through some like a tough place, speak to somebody, speak to your
Yeah,
family. Trust me, they're there to listen. And if you don't feel like your family will listen, you don't feel like nobody's gonna listen to you, listen, just dial that number, whatever that emergency number is, wherever you are. If it's 999 or 911, wherever you are, dial that
yeah.
and get speaking to somebody. Tell them what you're going through, and they will get you the help that you need. It's your boy
Absolutely.
JB, guys. Thank you for joining us on the Mark of jb.banda. I'm your host, and then Nalufu as our guest. I just want to say thank you so much,
Thank
guys.
you so much for
Subscribe.
having me.
Yeah, I just want to say, guys, subscribe to this, download it, share it. If you've got a friend who's going through a tough time, who's dealing with a relationship issue or anxiety, depression, share this to them. Be kind to them and give them a gift of knowledge. We all need to learn, and I feel like the more knowledge, that's the Bible says, lack of knowledge, people perish. So
Mhm.
come on, let's empower one another, guys. It's your boy
Preach.
JP. I love you guys, and I shall see you very, very soon. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.